She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is to ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
In the name of saving America from illegal aliens, the Trump administration's stringent immigration crackdown is costing lives. Minneapolis is on edge after an ICE officer shot and killed a driver during the ongoing Trump administration's campaign to crack down on immigration in the city. While federal officers defended the shooting as an act of self-defense, Mayor Jacob Frey described the incident as reckless and unnecessary. 37-year-old Renee Nicole Macklin Good was shot in the head shortly after 9:30 a.m. She was fatally shot in a snow-covered residential area south of downtown Minneapolis, with a family member witnessing the attack. The incident, captured on video by witnesses, rapidly sparked public outrage. By nightfall, hundreds gathered at a vigil to honor her life and call on the community to oppose immigration enforcement actions. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem labeled the incident an act of domestic terrorism, saying a woman targeted ICE officers by trying to run them down and striking them with her vehicle. She said an officer responded defensively, firing his weapon to protect himself and others nearby.
I want to reiterate first with all of you the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family. I encourage the American people at this point in time to pray for him, but also to pray for the deceased's family and her loved ones.
Following the fatal shooting in Minneapolis, President Donald Trump said that the situation had been studied and that he watched the clip himself, concluding that the video footage showed the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer. Defending the ICE officer, the president claimed he shot the woman in self-defense. In an early statement after the shooting, the Department of Homeland Security said the woman tried to use her vehicle to run down officers with the intent to kill them, prompting the officer to fire defensive shots, which ultimately killed the woman. Despite pushback against ICE operations in Minneapolis following the deadly shooting, the agency remains active in the city. The entire Trump administration has expressed support for the ICE officer who fired to enforce immigration laws. Taking to X, Vance wrote, "I want every ICE officer to know that their president, vice president, and the entire administration stands behind them." Like Trump, Vance disregarded other close-up videos that appear to clearly indicate the officer was not facing any immediate threat. War Secretary Pete Hegseth did not issue any statement regarding the incident, but reposted J.D. Vance's Stand by ICE message in support of the official. The White House and Press Secretary Leavitt also posted in support of ICE agents on X after the Trump administration received criticism for the broad daylight shooting of a woman. Video footage shows an officer approaching an SUV stopped in the middle of the road, ordering the driver to open the door and grabbing the handle. As the Honda Pilot starts to move forward, another ICE officer standing in front of it draws his gun and fires at least 2 shots at close range while stepping back. The videos do not clearly show Muse whether the vehicle struck the officer or if the woman had prior contact with ICE agents. After the shooting, the SUV accelerates into 2 parked cars along the curb before coming to a stop. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey condemned Noem's account as garbage, saying videos show the shooting was avoidable and not self-defense. He criticized the deployment of over 2,000 federal officers, accusing them of tearing families apart and creating chaos. A visibly angry Frey told ICE, "Get the fuck out of Minneapolis," while urging residents to stay calm.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
Minnesota Governor's Tim Walz called the killing predictable and avoidable and said he's ready to deploy the National Guard if needed. However, he urged the public to remain calm, saying, "They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot."
We've been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident. But we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this: I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. And I just want to, again, implore Minnesotans, I am not telling you not to express your anger or your frustrations or the outrage that we have. Look, this was totally predictable, as I said it yesterday, and it was totally avoidable. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough.